So in example number 4 from our textbook, let me read it to you guys out loud. It says, getting an exact answer on a calculator. So we want the cosine of 30 degrees. And we want the exact value. So you guys haven't memorized this yet like Mr. Adams has. But if I wanted to get the cosine of 30 degrees, Mr. Adams has memorized the 60-30 triangle. So if theta is 30 degrees, right? The opposite side, remember it's 1, 2, what goes here?
3.
Square root of 3. 1, 2, root 3. 1, 2, root 3. The shortest side is 1, the hypotenuse is 2, and the other side that's left over is the square root of 3. Now, I have to label this. This is the opposite. This is the adjacent, and because this is across from the 90-degree angle, this is the hypotenuse. Well, cosine of 30, remember that cosine of theta is equal to what? Who can tell me? A over h, or the adjacent over the hypotenuse, right? So, what is the adjacent? Root 3 over the hypotenuse, which is 2. Now here's the problem. Our textbook is showing us how to get this on the calculator. So if I come into my calculator and I want to do anything with cosine, sine, you're always going to want to double check the mode. It has 2 modes. It can do things in radians and it can do things in degrees. By the way, what is 30 degrees in radians? Can somebody tell me off the top of your head? Pi over 6. There's 3 of them that we need. Well, there's 4 really. There's pi over 2, pi over 3, pi over 4, and pi over 6. Now remember, pi is 180 degrees. So if you think, what is 180 divided by 3? That's 60 degrees. So 60 degrees is pi over 3. 45 degrees is 180 divided by 4. So that's pi over 4. 180 divided by 6 is 30 degrees. So this is the same as cosine of pi over 6. And so if we were to do this on our calculator, the first thing we want to do, and it never fails, there's always at least one kid that messes up the whole test because they don't check their mode. So you want to go to mode, and right now I'm in radians. So I want to see if I have the right answer. So we're saying that the answer is the square root of 3 divided by 2, which is a decimal approximation of 0.866, okay? So now I'm going to say cosine. What mode was I in? Were you guys paying attention? What mode was I in? You probably had your calculators out, right? Like you all do now. Get your calculators out, turn them on, because you were practicing along with Mr. Adams. And you plugged in cosine of pi over 6, which should be what? 0.866. But Mr. Adams loves mathematics so much, I want to get the answer another way. So now I'm going to switch this, my mode, and you guys are probably doing the exact same thing I'm doing because you want to learn how to use your calculator in addition to learning trigonometry. Now that I'm in degree mode, that should be the same answer, right? Cosine of 30 degrees is 0.866. Does that make sense? Now, over time, you start to memorize these things, right? The square root of 2 is 1.44. The square root of 3 is 1.73. The square root of 3 over 2 is 1/2 that, right? The square root of 2 divided by 2 is 0.707. The square root of 3 over 2 is 0.866. So you guys will, because it's the same 3 numbers every time. We usually use 2 triangles, right? The 45-45, what are the side lengths of the 45-45? 1, 1, and
Square root of 2.
square root 2. What are the sides of the 30-60 triangle?
1, 2, square root of 2.
So it's some combination of those numbers, and you should memorize their decimal approximation. However, we're done with example number 4. Does anybody have any questions?